Joining us now is Brandon Straka, founder of the Walk Away movement. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for the time.
Great to be here.
I'm seeing so many very earnest-seeming posts from people who claim to be Democrats saying that after this weekend, they're going to be pulling the lever for red this time around, some for the very first time. What are your thoughts on this and why this is happening?
Well, I think that I think for any person who ends up making the decision to walk away from the Democratic Party, it's been probably a series of episodes leading up to a breaking point, seeds that were planted for a long time, and then there becomes a final straw that kind of breaks the camel's back. I think that a lot of people have been watching for the last 3 years. First of all, obviously, there's the practical, what we call kitchen table issues. People are noticing that inflation is skyrocketing. They've had trouble paying for gas at the gas pumps. They're having trouble paying for groceries. There's all of these things. But a lot of people became liberals, including myself, back in the day, because we felt like we wanted to be a part of something that was for the betterment of humanity and for the betterment of society, a part of something where people get treated with more equity and more respect and more love and kindness. But slowly over the years, this ideology of liberalism has unraveled, where we've watched these people become pro-racial segregation, anti-male, and the hatred and the heat around the way that we talk about Donald Trump and his supporters. I think a lot of people have watched for years as Joe Biden has venomously called Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans a grave threat to our nation, dangerous, violent, all of these things with very little evidence to back it up. Meanwhile, they've watched their own side burn cities to the ground, commit heinous acts of violence, and unlimited amount of hatred towards Donald Trump and his supporters. Now it's finally all culminated in an assassination attempt. And I think a lot of people are going, okay, if we're really going to be this movement of people who claims to be against violence and hatred and hate has no home here, we need to take a good look at who's actually instigating the hate, executing the hate, and is now actually engaging in acts of attempted murder to try to further our own political cause. Maybe we're not on the right side.
Brandon, I know this is a very close question, this next topic, but how does this affect how the Democrats continue to pursue January 6th prisoners and persecuted individuals and the January 6th narrative? It seems to me the January 6th narrative is now dead in the water. They can't now stand on that as a way to cudgel the right.
I feel exactly the same way. I think it remains to be seen. I'm curious how they will move forward at this point, because if you're asking me what a person with common sense and dignity and honesty would do, I would say they would have to take a hard look at the mirror and say, okay, this narrative that we've tried to push forward about MAGA people being the extremists and the threat to society really has just fallen apart now that one of our own people went and tried to assassinate our political opponent. On the other side of the coin is that I have watched for over 3.5 years, as the Department of Justice, the FBI, federal prosecutors have done things that I never dreamed could happen in this country. So do I think that this automatically means that they're going to suddenly wake up and become decent, honorable people who do the right thing? No. But I would like to try to take Joe Biden at his word when he says now that he wants to cool down the temperature. He wants to stop engaging in hyperbolic rhetoric that's led us to this point. I hope they do that. I hope that going forward, they change their ways. I hope they change their rhetoric and their behavior. But as far as I'm concerned, it will never erase the past. And it will never undo the damage that's been done to so many people and so many innocent people over the last 3.5 years. They can change their ways and find a more positive path forward for the remainder of this campaign season. But nothing that they do from this point forward can ever undo the past and all the damage that they've done up until this point.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.